What's going on, guys? We are reacting to the asmongold reaction of the CNN anchor threatening to cut the mic of the DOGE advisor. Let's hit the play button and see what's up. I left asmongold's channel link in the chat if you guys want to check him out for yourself. But here we go. Let's see what happens.
What?
Let's see what happens, boys.
Don't spend
Cap
that
FN.
DOGE dividend
Cap?
quite yet. I'm Michael Smerconish in
How
Philadelphia.
you doing,
DOGE,
Cap?
they say they're about to show us the money. The
Show
Department of
us the
Government
money, babe.
Efficiency,
Show
led by
us that
Elon
money,
Musk,
babe.
is claiming to have saved taxpayers approximately $55 billion through various cost-cutting measures.
We're saving money,
They're breaking
baby.
down how they claim they're doing it on
that
the
we are
department's
saving money?
website.
Yeah.
For
That's what I
example,
wanna know.
just yesterday,
Also, are there any
DOGE published its
asmongold
latest
fans in
cost-cutting
chat?
measure.
Let me
They
know
say
in
that
the
it resulted
comments.
in a value of up to $235 million in savings. It's also pointing out wasteful spending with posts like this showing how taxpayers spent over $20
Are there
million
any CNN
on
fans
a
out
boarded-up
there?
building
I
over
don't
the
know.
course
I
of
feel
20
like
years.
CNN
There's also a wall of
has
receipts
lost the
listing
plot,
savings
as
on the
they
website
say.
detailing canceled contracts and
lost the
terminated
plot.
leases as part of the department's, they say, transparency initiative.
You're like, yeah.
And now there's a new potential layer to these DOGE
Cap
savings that's
Cap
gaining
FN, how you doing,
steam
man?
across social media to give us some of that money back.
Those are pennies, by the way? Okay, then give them to me.
True.
It's called the DOGE dividend.
True.
And it was explained in a
I could use
four-page
some
plan
extra
that was
pennies.
introduced this week on
I could
X,
use some
Yeah, I'll
extra
take it.
breaking down
I
how
ain't gonna
every
lie.
taxpayer would get a $5,000 tax refund check
Yeah, that would be
funded
nice.
exclusively with a portion of the total savings delivered by
I
DOGE.
could do a lot with
so
5
long-
grand.
There's a better chance Doge is going to give you a unicorn.
I could do a lot with
Really?
5
Like,
grand.
it's probably not going to happen.
It
But,
could
I
happen.
mean, it's
Asmongold.
funny
It
to
could
think
happen.
about.
It could happen.
as
Have
Musk's
faith, man.
goal
Yeah.
of $2 trillion in
Have
federal
faith.
savings is
Wow.
met.
Also,
The tweet
shout
was
out to
from
my
an
dishes
investor
back
and
there. My
CEO,
dirty dishes. I'm in
James
my kitchen.
Fishback, who's been a guest at Mar-a-Lago and has ties to both Trump and former DOGE official Vivek Ramaswamy. Well, the idea grabbed Elon Musk's attention, who replied he'd check with the president. It appears that he did because one day later, President Trump expressed interest in this proposal.
That's what I'm talking about.
There's even under consideration a new concept where we give 20%
buddy.
of the DOGE savings to American citizens and 20% goes to paying down debt because the numbers are
I
incredible.
like that.
So with
Wow.
attention comes scrutiny, with DOGE,
I like
the
it. I like
accuracy
it. I like it.
of its
Yeah.
reported savings being called into
what I'm
question.
talking
For instance,
about.
an initial claim of saving $8 billion by canceling
$8
a single
billion.
Immigration and Customs Enforcement ICE contract was
So
later revised
they've
to
claimed
$8
we've saved
million
$8 billion, which is
after
good.
discovering a clerical error. And that's not all. Critics
mean,
are calling
I
Musk
don't see
out
why
for
we shouldn't
the
believe him.
haphazard way that he's
I trust him
approaching
more
cost
than
cutting.
previous
There's the firings,
administration.
then
But that's just me.
rehirings across
Yep.
agencies, questions about transparency,
That's just me.
conflicts of interest.
Yep.
The true dollar amount of these savings being questioned.
Just
I don't
popping
see
in,
where
we're
the
reacting
conflict
to
of interest thing
asmongold,
comes in.
reacting
I mean, haven't they both addressed that like 7 times?
to the DOGE dividend.
I feel like that's
We
already
might be
been
getting 5
that's already
grand
been
at the end of the
defined.
year, guys. 5 grand.
the long-term impact of the overhaul.
DOGE can actually
Well, who better to
cut
answer some of these
spending,
questions
and we end up
than
saving
James
like $1 trillion.
Fishback, the CEO
They want to give.
of
Well, it's an
Azoria,
idea.
the
It's not official,
originator
but they
of the
want to give
DOGE
back
dividend.
20%
James,
of the
thank you for
money
being
we
here. How did
saved,
this
which
all
would
come
equate
to
to like
pass?
5 grand
Well,
per
good morning,
person.
Michael. To tell you the truth, it came to me in a dream. I woke up, I called her.
Also, if you want to check out asmongold's channel, link is in the link is in the sidebar pinned to the top. This is, man, 5 grand, bro. Come on, Ash. Thank you for subscribing, bro.
All right.
Thank you for
All right,
subscribing. If you're just
okay.
popping in, welcome to the
Your
stream.
nation's a joke?
I'm a fan of asmongold. I don't
I
agree
don't
with
know. It
everything he
seems like a
says,
pretty
but
good
I think
dream
he's
to
funny.
me.
I think he's entertaining. You know,
Head
he's
of
got some
research
hot
at
takes.
Azoria. We
That's
met at
fine.
Capitol
Freedom of
Grill. We
speech,
fleshed
boys.
this
Freedom
thing
of
out
speech.
in 2 hours, and I'm honored that the president has endorsed it.
But 5
this is a
grand
real
at the end
plan
of the
to
year,
send the savings that
possibly?
DOGE generates over the
It's
next
not
couple of
certain
years
yet.
right back into
It's
the
just an
pockets
idea
of
they're floating.
hardworking Americans all across this country. They deserve it. It was their money in the first place,
It's
and
true.
they
It's
need
our
a
money in the
break.
first place. This CNN anchor doesn't
Okay,
believe
I'm
it's going to
all
happen.
for ridding
But
the
the guy on the
government
right, he's
of
actually like a
waste,
DOGE
fraud,
advisor,
and
so
abuse.
he's saying it could.
But at
It
some
could happen.
level, isn't it all
There's a possibility.
illusory? In other words, if there's a quote-unquote savings made by Elon Musk and DOGE, we're still $36 trillion in debt. So there's...
So you're saying we
So let me get this straight.
yeah.
The logic is that because we already have a bunch of debt, we might as well just keep spending money? Like, I don't understand this at all. And also,
the
if
logic
this
is
was
flawed.
illusory,
It's
then
flawed
why
logic.
did we give out COVID stimulus checks?
Exactly.
We already have a principle for this. There's a precedent for this. It happened like 3 years ago.
True.
What do you mean?
There's no pie to cut up. There's no slice of the pizza
I don't know
that
how
I can hand
CNN
back to you
anchors like
unless we continue to borrow
employed.
those funds.
I don't know. Does anybody even
Our
watch
plan's
CNN
really
anymore?
simple. Over the next couple of years,
I'm
DOGE
genuinely
will
curious.
save
You
a
think they
set
forgot
amount
about
of
Are there any
money.
COVID
CNN
signals?
We're gonna
fans
take
in the chat?
20%
Let me know.
of that
Post
and
an
put
emoji
it right
if
back
you're a
in the
fan of
hands of
CNN.
taxpayers. The other 80, as President Trump has pointed out, will go back to paying down the debt and narrowing
Pay
the
down the debt.
deficit.
We can do
Here's the
both.
truth, Michael.
Give
For
some money
every
back to America.
$5 that DOGE saves, as we believe,
Pay down the debt.
calculated by the
We do it both.
Congressional Budget Office, when this
We
whole
brute
project
force
is said
attack
and
it.
done
Two
next
different
summer,
angles.
for
Bam,
every
bam.
$5, $1 goes back to the pockets of American taxpayers. Here's why.
Why are his
They
Jesus, bro. Like, this guy got a default resting face like a Skyrim. Like
What's going to happen is they're going to
Starfield
inflate the
NPC.
debt away. Dev for stating.
This is
stating.
not. What's it, damn,
How you doing, Dev?
bro?
I mean, I don't know. Inflate the
They
debt
sent
away.
their money to D.C. to be spent in America, not to be abused, not to be disrespected, and not to be defrauded. That $20 million to Iraq
Also,
and
hit that
Sesame
like
Street,
button,
that
guys.
money sent for a transgender opera
If you
in
think we're
Colombia,
gonna get
all at the same
$5
time,
grand
Michael,
at the end
that
of the
we have
year.
roads and
Smash.
bridges crumbling. We're losing
Smash.
900 Americans every day.
I don't even care about the money. I care about where the money went. I bet that opera probably wasn't even that good. I want a detailed balance sheet of that opera. I want to know who was in charge of it, and I think they should get audited. Let's get their
The
tax
debt
returns.
can never be
Let's go
repaid,
ahead
so
and
they
do
will
an audit of
devalue
their
the currency to
finances.
$0. US dollars will be worthless.
That's what I want to see.
I mean, that's what they're trying.
That's where
We're trying to reverse that, you know?
because I don't even think they're
They're
getting their
trying to reverse-
transgender opera. We're spending all this fucking money. They don't even get it, or if they do, it sucks.
Deaths of despair, alcoholism, and suicide. 8 out of 10 black American fourth graders are not even reading at grade level. This is pathetic.
What?
True.
10 black American day to deaths of despair, alcoholism, and suicide. 8 out of 10 black American fourth graders are not even reading at grade level. This is pathetic.
What the
Americans
fuck?
sent their money to be spent in America. They were defrauded. They were lied to. They now deserve restitution. And the second point
Okay.
that President
get
Trump,
some of that
just
money
one
back,
sec,
boys.
Michael.
Let's
The
get it
second
back.
point that President Trump brought up on Air Force One is that these DOGE dividends will
Hashtag
incentivize
bring
Americans
back the
to
money,
report
okay?
waste, fraud,
Bring
and
back the
abuse in
money.
their own community. Why? Why? Because the more that DOGE saves,
The
the
more money
bigger
they
their
get.
DOGE
Yeah.
dividend check will be. Remember, in economics, show me the incentive and I'll show you the outcome. We're giving every
Okay,
American.
I'm going to get to the economics. Come
Go
on,
ahead.
I gave you a chance for a great sound bite. You got and those soft power exercises make for great sound bites.
The guy
but
on the
when you
left is
drill
just a Debbie
down-
Downer.
It's not
Okay.
having a transgender opera isn't soft power.
He's a Debbie Downer. We don't need to spend
just
all this
retarded.
money on stuff. Like, why are we
Like-
doing that?
What is that? What are we thinking? Like, really? It's crazy. What are you talking
For
Exactly.
about?
example, on Sesame
Exactly. What are we
Street in
thinking?
Iraq, they often make sense. Joseph Nye from Harvard, who gets credited with the coinage of the word soft power, you'd rather spend on that than bullets. But wait, you want to talk
Hold on,
about
there
the
was a
economics?
terrorist
Put up-
attack in
Soft
Iraq
power,
last
okay.
month that killed
okay.
40 people. It's clearly not working.
Yeah,
It's not working, boys.
So, I mean, is the solution, so if the soft power...
Stop giving other countries all our money and let's
So,
use some of that money to like
basically, if
help
the logic
Americans
is that this soft
and help our
power
country because
reduces
we are
the
in debt up
probability
to our eyeballs.
of having bad things happen, then how many
too
Sesame
much
Street
debt.
plays do you think that we should have? Because, like, obviously one isn't enough. Because if we're still having terrorist attacks over there, they're not working. So maybe 5, 7, 12, maybe once a week. How many is it going to take to make these bombs stop exploding?
True. Just doesn't make
There
sense.
has to be the math on this, right?
Show me the math. The
Why
math
should we
ain't
care about
mathing.
terrorist attacks in Iraq at all?
The math is not
That's a
mathing,
great
boys.
question.
It's not mathing.
Yeah, I don't think it's the U.S. taxpayers'
Again, if you want to check out
responsibility to care
Asmongold's
about
channel,
the
link
terrorist
is
attacks
in the
that
chat.
are in
It's pinned
Iraq.
in the chat.
Great
Check them
point.
out. Subscribe if you like what you see.
Okay,
Power
so
and Sesame
maybe,
Street are not
so
working.
maybe,
if there are terrorists, we need to kill the
maybe- come
terrorists.
on.
We don't need to fund Big Bird
Listen
and
to me.
Elmo.
maybe the terrorist would have been better off watching Big Bird than learning in a madrasa.
What? What? Thank you again, guys, for the likes. I appreciate it.
So he's saying we need more
Rock, thank you.
Sesame Street plays in Iraq.
This guy on
What
the left
is
does
it?
not know
Like,
what he's talking
I don't
about.
understand. Like, you see the video. Like,
This guy's a dumb.
how is this possible? How, like, is there any thinking to this at all? This is amazing. There's no answer. I don't even understand this at all. Depends if the government divide up their nose. Otherwise, you don't need to care. Well, this is my mindset. Is that why the fuck are we in Iraq at all? Now, I'm speaking as an American, so I can't understand Iraqi culture. But what I can understand is that if I had another nation that is trying to forcefully push its agenda in my country, that would annoy me.
Okay.
And I wouldn't like that.
Yeah.
So when I hear this, I bet there's a lot of guys in Iraq that are like, what the fuck are they doing trying to come over here and tell us how to live?
Thank you.
You already bombed us. You destabilized our fucking country. You killed our leader.
Whenever we try to fix
and
something,
you think we
it's-
had
we
nukes.
just end
We
up
didn't
making it
have any
worse,
nukes, by
and
the
we
way.
just, like,
Everything's
end
fucked
up
up now.
way more
and
in
now
debt
you
than
want
we
us
were
to
when we
look at
started.
Sesame Street
We need
and
to stop
tell
trying to
us
fix
that
stuff.
we're right?
Stop.
You're going to
Stop.
Big Bird us out of being mad about the weapons of mass destruction debacle? I don't fucking think that's going to happen. Really, you think about it. It's insane.
I agree.
Big Bird is the solution to terrorism. Well, I don't know about Big Bird, but I know One Piece certainly isn't.
Let me make my point. Put on the screen from the Peterson Foundation. This is where the rubber meets the road. We are $36 trillion in debt. I don't know if you can see that, but that's 106,121 for every single person in America. So if Elon Musk is successful in saving us money from waste, fraud, and abuse, and by the way, James, I hope that he is.
This is a complete cosmetic number. We're never going to pay down this debt. It's never going to happen. It's a complete made-up number. It's $36 trillion. That's not even real. Like, all of these are bullshit theoretical numbers. Like, what is this? It's not made up? Yeah, absolutely it is. Debt to who? Who's the debt to?
Excuse me.
Who's that? It's all made up money.
Made up money, boys.
It's not
I
all
don't
the
like
China.
the approach, but I like the fact that something's being done. There is no money in the till. We owe $36 trillion. We owe $106,000 each. So whatever the savings ought to be, it's not like President Trump's doing us a favor by giving us 20%. Everything ought to go to the debt because the Peterson people
That's
say...
a fair argument. If he wants to use this argument and say that the DOGE dividend is silly and it should be put entirely towards paying down the debt, like, I wouldn't agree with that because I think that the debt is just a cosmetic number that will never change. Like, this entire, you're never going to pay down $36 trillion. It's just never going to happen. Like, I'm sorry, it will never happen. It's not real. It's never going to go that far. It's just never going to happen. So anyway, that being said, inflation. Yeah, with inflation, everything like that, it's just never going to happen. That being said, I think the money should probably just be reallocated to people through,
If you're just
like,
popping
entitlement
in,
programs.
guys, we are reacting
It's not
to
like they should just send people checks.
the DOGE dividend debate that they had on CNN.
By 2050, 50% of all revenue is going to go to satisfying interest on the debt. We should be paying the debt. Your response?
My response is this. We should be paying the debt, which is why the DOGE dividend incentivizes every American to call out waste, fraud, and abuse, to lower the budget, to narrow the deficit, and to bring down the debt. Where was this emergency over the debt when we sent $350 billion to Ukraine to be wasted? Where was this emergency, Michael, on CNN when you guys were advocating?
You know economics, do some basic research before saying nonsense. Do you realistically think that we are ever going to pay down $36 trillion? Just be honest with me right now. Do you ever think that's actually going to happen? You or your investments grade will be reduced? That's not the question I asked. Do you think that we're ever going to pay that down? That number is ever going to get erased? Japan, China own most of our debts. Yes, I think that you will. I don't. I don't think we will. I think the number is too big. We're not getting enough money. There's never going to be a reason to do that. A lot of the EU and Brazil can't really capitalize on that debt. It's not going to happen. Yeah, I don't think it's going to happen.
$7,000 to migrants in Chicago, $7,000 a month per migrant, and now we want to spend $5,000 one time from President Trump to hardworking Americans. The migrants didn't deserve $7,000 a month. Hardworking Americans deserve a $5,000 check with President Trump's name on it. So enough with the double standard. Ukraine did not deserve $350 billion.
Okay, listen to me.
Something totally different.
Listen to me. This is Madoff-like. This is a Ponzi scheme.
No, Ukraine was a Ponzi scheme. The migrant funding was a Ponzi scheme. Hardworking Americans deserve a break. It was their money, Michael. It was their money.
James, give me a chance to speak. Theoretically, it's my program. We don't have the money, is what I'm trying to tell you. It's a Ponzi.
So we didn't have the money for Ukraine, right? We didn't have the money for Ukraine. $350 billion.
I never do this. I don't want to be that guy. Do I have to silence your microphone so I can respond to what you've said? Because there's so much fallacy in what you've just offered.
Please go ahead and refute it.
I have a very simple premise here. We're $36 trillion in debt. It's a fraud. As much as I want to see us cut waste, fraud, and abuse, it is an absolute fraud to say to the American people, because of what Musk is doing, we have $5 grand to give each of you. The only way we have $5 grand is if we're borrowing it, because we're that far in debt. I'm trying to meet you halfway, which is simply to say, what a good thing that finally we're going to look at waste, fraud, and abuse, albeit it shouldn't be in this haphazard fashion. But let's at least be honest with the American people that whatever we quote-unquote save, we already owe. Now I'm going to give you 30 seconds to respond, and then I'm going to say see you later. Go ahead.
Michael, let me say this. We're fellow Americans. We care about this issue, and I'm grateful for the opportunity to come on this program, but I got to speak truth here. At the end of the day, we've got to send the money back that is saved, just 20% of it. The other 80% goes down to paying the national debt and narrowing the deficit. To your point, yes, there has been a fraud against the American people, the Green New Scam, Ukraine, the migrant crisis. Their taxpayer dollars were sent abroad, were not sent at home, were not spent in America, not on health care, not on education. That ends with President Trump's leadership today. He is delivering on his promise of major government reform, Michael. The DOGE dividend plan is bold, and Americans support it.
All right, I'm calling time on all of that. I appreciate your being here. I think we've each, I hope, made our respective points. Thank you.
I don't think we're ever going to get a DOGE dividend. I'm going to be totally honest. I don't think that's going to happen. I think the probability of it happening is so extremely fucking low. Right side guy, what is this here? Is the money was found when they have all the receipts? They don't find a cash stockpile? Well, it's money that we're spending on something stupid, and then we stop spending the money, right? I think that's generally what happens. Talk about debt once in 10 years. Once they start to care when their opponents' political points with fucking children. No, the thing is that, like, we're never going to pay back $36 trillion. It's never going to happen. The entire premise of this problem is fake. Like, I'm sorry. And if you guys think that it's going to happen, go ahead, clip it right now. Let's come back to it in 5, 10, 20 years.
I think it's going to happen.
Yep, let's come back. Let's see if the number goes up or down. Because I bet it's just going to keep going up and up and up and up and up and up and up. That's it. And it's never going to go down.
Friend. You got to believe.
Will you be here in 20 years? If I don't get banned, maybe. Yeah, we'll see what happens, right? Or World War III happens. There's definitely that, too. And, yeah, that's it.
So there you go, guys. That was the Asmongold CNN anchor threatens to cut Mike on Doge Advisor reaction. If you want to check out Asmongold's channel yourself, I put a link down in the chat, pinned it on the side, or you can just look up Asmongold TV. But yeah, there you go. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you want to watch the original, click the link. If you want to watch more reaction videos like this, let me know in the comments section, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Until then, my name is Adam, and remember, keep counting game on. Totals.